Alone at a wedding, a heartwarming surprise revealed. Single dad asks inspiring CEO in wheelchair. Jake held Lily's hand tightly as they approached the garden where the wedding was to take place. The vibrant colors of flowers danced in the gentle breeze, a stark contrast to the gray clouds that loomed in his heart. A simple invitation from a neighbor had pulled them from their solitary routines. "It'll be fun, Dad," Lily chirped. Her excitement was contagious, but Jake felt out of place. Memories of her mother haunted him like shadows, reminding him of their laughter lost to time. As they entered the scene, laughter bounced off trees draped in fairy lights. Couples twirled on the dance floor, their joy palpable. Jake's heart sank. Everywhere he looked were families, dads with their little girls, moments of pure bliss that made his chest tighten. Lily, in her vibrant dress, tugged him along, her curious eyes soaking up the magic around them. "Look, Dad." She pointed at the decorations and ran ahead, leaving Jake to grapple with his solitude. For a moment, he watched her, the light glimmering in her hair, and found a smile creeping onto his face. It was then she discovered the table where Emma, a vibrant CEO in a wheelchair, was setting out shimmering decorations. They hit it off instantly. Emma's laughter rang out, drawing Jake closer. As the two of them decorated together, he saw Lily's eyes widen with awe at Emma's spirited talk of overcoming obstacles and her dreams that soared against all odds. But then, the atmosphere shifted just as he was beginning to relax. A guest, wine glass in hand, uttered an insensitive remark about Emma's wheelchair, laughter following his words like a shadow trailing behind. Jake felt the heat rise in him. How could anyone be so callous? He glanced at Emma, her smile faltered, her eyes momentarily clouding over. The anger bubbled up inside him, a fierce need to defend her dignified spirit. "Hey!" Jake stepped forward, his voice steady. "That's not okay." Silence draped over them like a thick fog. He felt the eyes of the crowd turn towards him, gauging his response. "Emma's strength reminds us of what it means to rise above," he continued, heart racing. His throat tightened as he shared his own story of loss. "We all face our struggles, but we don't need to belittle each other. We should lift each other up." A ripple of murmurs spread among the guests. For a moment, everything hung in the balance. Hope flickered in Emma's gaze, and to his surprise, people began nodding in agreement. They were starting to see past judgments. Kindness and respect illuminated like a beacon in the dimming light of the evening. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the tension eased, Jake felt a warmth spread through him, a burgeoning friendship taking root. The night flowed on, laughter and music enveloping him, drawing him in. He turned to Emma, inviting her to join him and Lily. "Our lives are intertwined now," he said, both hope and apprehension hanging in the air. Would she? Yet, just as possibilities began to bloom, Jake stood at the precipice of uncertainty, battling the ghosts of his past while facing an uncertain future. As laughter filled the night air, he couldn't shake the feeling. Was he truly ready for connection again? The weight of his unresolved feelings closed in around him, leaving him anxious yet curious, peering into the horizon of what could come next. The night grew deeper, and the chill creeping in was forgotten amidst the warmth of laughter and shared stories. Jake couldn't help but notice how seamlessly Lily fit into this world of connections, her innocence shining through every smile she exchanged with Emma. It was a glimpse of happiness that he had longed to see, the kind that tugged at the strings of his heart. He knew, in that moment, something was shifting inside him, something new and bright. "Let us get some food," Lily suggested, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Emma waved them over to a nearby buffet table where an array of colorful dishes beckoned. The atmosphere was electric, the kind of energy that made tired hearts flutter with hope. People bustled around them, caught in their own moments, yet Jake felt like it was just the three of them, a world apart. As they gathered plates, Jake couldn't help but steal glances at Emma. She engaged every guest with effortless ease, hospitality mixed with a spark that commanded attention. It struck him how bold she was, a warrior in a world that often overlooked strength wrapped in a gentle demeanor. "Emma, how do you do it?" Jake asked, surprised at his own curiosity. "How do you keep such a positive attitude?" She paused, fixing him with a smile that seemed to hold all the answers. "Because every day is a chance," she replied. "The world tries to pin you down, but it's how you rise up that matters the most. You just have to find what drives you and hold on tight." Jake's heart raced. Was she speaking to him? Her words resonated, filling the empty spaces in his heart. Yet doubt lingered on the edges of his thoughts. Could he really embrace that kind of fearlessness again? Lily chimed in, her voice a sweet melody amid the deeper conversation. "That's like Dad," she exclaimed. "He helps me with my art, even when he is sad." There it was again, the truth of their shared sorrow. Jake sensed a tremor of vulnerability in Lily's words, and it struck him like a bolt of lightning. He had tried so hard to be brave for her, yet he was still wrestling with his own shadows. Could he really allow himself to embrace this new connection with Emma while living in the weight of loss? Just then, a joyful cheer erupted from the dance floor. Couples spun, their laughter rising to the treetops like balloons, free and hopeful. Emma watched with bright eyes, an undeniable spark of desire to join in on the joy. "Let us dance!" Lily exclaimed, her excitement spilling over. She tugged on Jake's sleeve, eyes glowing with anticipation. Jake hesitated. Dance? In a crowd? His heart thudded against his chest, battling memories of a past where music brought them closer. But he couldn't deny the moment, not with Emma's eyes shining with enthusiasm beside them. "Okay, let us do it," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. Together they navigated through laughter and colorful lights, Lily leading the way. As music enveloped them, Jake's fears began to lift, if only for a moment. He caught Emma's eye, her expression a mix of challenge and encouragement. Maybe there was still hope for him to step into this new chapter. Maybe connection wasn't just a distant dream but a possibility waiting to unfold. But just as he let himself enjoy the moment, tragedy struck the heart of the celebration. A sudden crash echoed through the garden, followed by a scream that sent shockwaves through the crowd. Jake's stomach dropped. In an instant, the joyous atmosphere shattered. What had happened? Adrenaline coursed through him as he turned towards the sound, fear clawing at his throat. And as the crowd erupted into chaos, all Jake could think was that life could change in the blink of an eye. Panic surged through Jake as he saw people scrambling, their faces twisted in confusion and fear. He remained rooted to the spot for a heartbeat longer, the music now a distant memory, replaced by the cacophony of raised voices and the rushing of feet. "Lily." He reached for her hand, squeezing it tightly. "Stay close." The world around them blurred into a chaotic fog as he pushed into the throng, Emma right beside him, her eyes wide and searching. Amid the crowd, he spotted the source of the disturbance, a small wooden table that had toppled over, the food scattered like broken dreams across the grass. A woman was crouched down, her hands clasping her ankle, anguish etched across her face. Realizing not much worse could happen, relief poured into Jake, though his heart still raced. "Everyone, please!" Emma exclaimed, her voice rising above the din. "It's just a fall. Let us give her some space." Her calm authority cut through the chaos like a beacon, and slowly, people began to settle, their eyes shifting away from the fallen woman. Jake released a breath he didn't know he was holding. This was Emma's strength turning panic into focus, turning fear into acts of kindness. "Let us help her," Jake said, and without waiting for a response, he moved toward the distressed woman. Emma followed closely, her demeanor steadying him. As they approached, he knelt beside her, careful to keep his posture non-threatening. "Hey, are you okay?" What happened? He asked gently. She winced but managed a weak smile. Just lost my balance. I think I sprained my ankle, she said, grimacing as she gingerly shifted her weight. Emma crouched down next to him, quickly assessing the situation. We need to get you some ice. Let us get you sitting somewhere comfortable, she announced decisively, which inspired confidence in those still watching. Jake nodded and offered his hand to the woman, helping her to stand. Together, they walked her over to a shaded bench, Emma leading the way. There was a warmth in the crowd's energy now, a shared understanding that they were all together in this moment. Lily appeared at Jake's side, her eyes wide in admiration. You were so brave, Dad, she said with a hint of awe. Her words tugged at his heartstrings. I wasn't brave. Just trying to help, he replied, but inside, he felt a flicker of pride. Emma returned with a bag of ice and knelt in front of the woman, carefully wrapping it around her ankle. You'll be okay. Just take it easy for a moment, Emma reassured her with a soothing tone. Jake marveled at the way Emma could connect, was almost entranced by her gentle confidence. In that moment, he felt a shift inside, as if he'd been dormant for too long. See? Emma glanced up at him, her eyes sparkling with a challenge. This is what it's about. She gestured to the crowd now moving back to celebrate, aware of the connection they had just forged from turmoil. Jake nodded, feeling hope blooming once more. Despite the shadows that usually clung to him, he saw potential now, the chance to rediscover joy in unexpected places. The chaos faded into a light hum, laughter returning to the air. But lingering questions gnawed at him. Could he really let go of the past? Was it possible to build something new, something beautiful, even amidst the remnants of old heartbreak? As the music resumed gently in the background, Jake's hand brushed against Emma's, sending a bolt of warmth up his arm. For a brief second, they shared a look that hinted at a deeper understanding, a shared promise of support. Just then, an announcement blared over the speakers: we're going to resume the dance. Come join us. Jake felt his heart leap. The last remnants of chaos dissolved as he looked at Lily, her face alight with excitement. He looked back at Emma, a question shining in his eyes. Are you ready? With the music calling him to leave behind the shadows, Jake took a deep breath, ready to step into the possibility of change and discover the joy waiting just beyond the next note. But would he find the courage to finally dance with the future, or would the weight of his past hold him back just one more time? The music floated around them, wrapping Jake in a comforting embrace. He looked down at Lily, her small frame practically bouncing with excitement. Come on, let us go. She urged, her hand tugging at his sleeve. Taking a deep breath, Jake felt a surge of determination. This was their moment, a chance to step away from the fears that had kept him frozen for so long. Let us do this, he replied, and with Lily leading the way, they moved toward the dance floor. Emma followed closely, her presence a steadying force. As they approached the crowd, Jake noticed people had paired up, swaying in unison to the music, laughter erupting like fireworks. The world felt alive, vibrant with hope and shared experiences. Lily burst onto the floor, spinning in delight as she pulled Jake into the rhythm. He couldn't help but chuckle at her enthusiasm. Okay, I'm in, he said, lifting her into the air, spinning her as she squealed with laughter. In that instant, the shadows of his past seemed to dissolve, replaced with the bright colors of joy. Emma stepped onto the dance floor too, her eyes sparkling. She joined them, fluidly matching their movements. Jake felt a warmth rise within him as their laughter intertwined with the music, washing away the remnants of chaos. There was something electric about sharing this joy together. As they danced, Jake's heart swelled and every beat felt like a silent promise. He caught Emma's gaze, and for a moment, the world stilled. You really have a way of bringing out the best in people, he said, confidence fluttering in his chest. She merely smiled, her eyes full of understanding. Sometimes, we just need a little nudge, Emma replied, and Jake realized how true that was. He was learning to embrace vulnerability, to lean on others instead of hiding away. Suddenly, the DJ announced a twist on the music, a slow song that drew the energy down, inviting couples to hold each other close. The crowd swayed gently, finding comfort in the moment. Jake felt Lily slip her tiny hand into his. "Dad, can we dance like this?" she asked softly. "Of course, sweetheart," he replied, meshing her hand within his. He turned to Emma, who was now standing beside them. "Would you dance with us?" he asked, a hint of hope woven through his voice. Emma's smile widened, and she nodded. They formed a small circle, with Jake holding Lily in one arm and reaching out to Emma with the other. They swayed as one, the music blending with the beating of their hearts. This felt different, this felt right. A sense of belonging washed over him. It was more than just a dance, it was a connection, a reminder that despite their individual struggles, they could find peace and happiness together. But as the song faded, Jake felt a familiar tugging sensation in his chest, a gentle reminder of what he still held deep inside. Could he really let someone in? Did he dare to think about a future beyond just coasting through life with Lily? Was it possible to embrace love again after everything that had happened? As the last notes rang out, a figure unexpectedly approached. Jake's heart quickened, the familiar face transforming his thoughts into a whirlwind. He took a step back, instinctively shielding Lily. Who were they doing here? Jake, the voice called, hesitant and soaked in emotion. In that moment, time stood still. Would he face this sudden re-emergence, or retreat behind the walls he had carefully constructed? What now? Jake murmured to himself, fear coiling tightly within him. A battle between past and present raged on. What was he willing to risk? And just as he opened his mouth to speak, their eyes locked, pulling on a thread that could unravel everything he had tried to hold together. The familiar voice hung in the air, suffocating and electric all at once. Jake felt a rush of emotions collide inside him: surprise, anger, confusion. His hand tightened around Lily's, a protective instinct that surfaced without thought. Jake, the voice softened, yet it felt like a weight pressing down on him. The woman standing before him was a ghost from his past, a reminder of everything he had tried to forget. Her features were unchanged, the hope and hurt mingling in her eyes just like he remembered. "What are you doing here?" he asked, his voice strained. He tried to keep his tone steady, but it cracked at the edges, betraying the chaos that swirled within. "I came to see you," she started, but the words spilled into the air and faltered under the weight of an awkward silence. Jake's heart raced. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. He wasn't ready for this confrontation, not now, not after everything he had fought to rebuild. Lily, sensing the tension, looked up at him with innocent curiosity. "Dad, who is she?" Her wide eyes darted between Jake and the woman, confusion etched across her young face. The last thing he wanted was to explain the complexities of his past to her, not when he was still trying to understand them himself. "Just someone from a long time ago," he said, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. Emma, who had stepped back when the confrontation began, remained quietly observant. Jake felt her gaze, a steady weight grounding him amid the chaos. He turned slightly to her, searching for an anchor, a lifeline that had seemed so secure just moments ago. "Why now?" He turned back, his voice almost a whisper filled with disbelief. "After all this time, you just show up?" "Because I needed to. I want to explain." Her voice quavered, the sincerity behind her words piercing through his defenses. Jake shook his head, feeling the anger flare within him. "There's nothing to explain," he snapped, his heart pounding. "You chose to leave. We moved on." Yet as she stood before him, he could see the pain in her eyes, the cracks of regret forming little rivulets through the desperation. They had once shared dreams, weren't they? Plans he had to leave behind when everything changed. Lily's small hand squeezed tighter around his, anchoring him back to the present. He wanted to shield her from this woman, from the mess of his past. But did he really want to be a wall, denying her the chance to understand? "Hey," Emma's voice pierced through his haze. "Maybe she has something important to say." Jake glanced at her, her expression mixed with empathy and encouragement. It caught him off guard. How could she see this situation so differently? "Please, Jake," the woman pleaded, a quiver in her voice. I've learned so much. I just want to make things right. Can't we talk? He forced himself to breathe, feeling the overwhelming pull of memories and emotions. Was this an opportunity to understand and heal? Before he could answer, he felt a soft tug on his sleeve. Lily was staring up at him, confusion competing with concern. Dad, is she our family? The question hit him like a punch to the gut. Could she really make sense of this? What kind of answers could he possibly give? As his heart battled against his instincts, Jake's mind raced. What was he willing to expose? Would he embrace the possibility of confronting the past, or would he put another wall between what could be and what was? The music faded behind them, but the uncertainty loomed large. With everything at stake, he stood at the precipice of a decision that could change their lives forever. Can you give me a minute? He finally heard himself say. At that moment, he didn't just mean the woman in front of him. He meant time to reconsider everything he thought he had moved on from. But would waiting reveal clarity, or would it spiral into further confusion? And as he took a deep breath, he realized that perhaps uncovering the truth meant risking everything, including the life he had built. Lily's eyes widened as if she were a deer caught in headlights, searching for comfort in her father's expression. Jake felt the heat of panic rise within him. The world had shifted. Just moments ago, it had been filled with laughter, dancing, and the soft echo of love songs. Now, the atmosphere felt thick, heavy with unspoken words and unresolved emotions. Just give me a minute, he said again, more for himself than anyone else. He needed to think. He needed a moment to gather his shattered sense of self. He stepped aside, still clutching Lily's hand, leading her to a quieter corner of the venue. The flickering lights of the chandeliers above cast a warm glow on their faces, but Jake felt cold. He dropped onto one knee in front of Lily, forcing a smile he barely felt. Hey, sweetheart, he said, his voice trembling. Is she coming back? Lily asked, her curiosity blending with a hint of worry. Kids had an uncanny way of cutting to the real heart of a matter. Jake inhaled deeply, aware that his answer would shape her understanding of family, love, and forgiveness. I don't know, honey. It's complicated. He brushed a loose strand of hair from her face, wishing he could wrap her in a bubble where nothing ever hurt. But I'm here. Always here, okay? Lily nodded, though the uncertainty lingered in her gaze. Why did you call her someone from a long time ago? She's your Jake hesitated, the right words eluding him. She's an old friend, but it's not that simple. The sound of laughter from the wedding party echoed through the hall, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing inside him. His own sense of happiness had been upended in moments. He looked back at Emma, who stood a few feet away, watching intently. Her eyes held a mixture of concern and curiosity, as if she too was grappling with the implications of this reunion. Do you want to talk to her? He heard himself ask, the question slipping from his lips before he could ruminate on it. Lily shrugged, her little shoulders lifting and dropping in indecision. I don't really know her. Okay, he said softly. That's fair. But he also knew he had to confront the past to ensure a stable future, not just for himself, but for Lily. Everything he desired rested precariously on this moment. He straightened and turned back towards the woman he had once loved and lost. She stood like a statue, vulnerable yet impactful. And just like that, the protective barrier he had built around his heart began to crack. Let's talk, he said, his voice steadier now, each word drawing him away from fear and toward understanding. The choice was clear, to shield Lily from the past or to allow her to learn about connection, about how love can sometimes come with pain. As he walked towards Emma and that ghost from his past, fear danced at the edges of his thoughts. Did he have the strength to face old wounds? Could their conversation lead to healing or just more heartache? The woman caught his eyes, her expression tentative but hopeful. Clenching his fists, Jake felt the weight of his decision. And just then, a powerful wave of determination washed over him. It was time to face the music, to peel back the layers of hurt and begin anew. But as he approached, Jake couldn't shake the sinking feeling that perhaps this wasn't just about closure. Maybe it was the beginning of something he never anticipated. What would they discover about each other and themselves now that the truth was waiting to be uncovered? Jake's heart raced as he approached Emma. Her presence radiated a mix of nostalgia and uncertainty. Time had altered their story, and now, standing just a few feet apart, it felt as if they were standing at the edge of a cliff. Both of them were aware that they could either leap into an abyss of pain or find a way to steady themselves. "Emma," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, punctuated by the surrounding laughter from the party. "Can we talk?" She nodded slowly, a hesitant smile stretching across her face. "I didn't expect to see you here." Her tone was laced with a mixture of warmth and caution. "We didn't expect much, did we?" Jake replied, trying to inject lightness into his words, but the weight of the moment was palpable. Lily, sensing the tension, clutched Jake's hand tighter. He looked down at her, and in that fleeting glance, he saw her innocence, no worries, just love and untainted trust. The tightness in his chest eased slightly. He was doing this for her. "Can I meet her?" Lily interrupted, her large eyes darting between the two adults. "I want to know more about you, if that's okay." Jake felt her small hand tremble against his. This was the moment they had walked toward together, where past choices rippled into the present. Emma's expression softened as she crouched to Lily's eye level. "Of course, you can," Emma said, her voice as gentle as a summer breeze. "I promise I'm not scary, I'm just a friend who hasn't been around for a long time." Lily tilted her head, curiosity painted on her face. "Why did you go away?" Jake's breath hitched. He hadn't prepared for this question, and he felt Emma's startled gaze on him. The past threatened to spill over, but he knew how much this mattered for Lily's understanding and for his own clarity. Sometimes Jake found his voice, people get lost in their own lives. "I made a lot of mistakes, and Emma had her reasons too." Emma nodded, still kneeling before Lily. "It's true. I had to figure some things out. But I've missed a lot of important moments that I wish I could have shared." Jake could see the emotional threads attempting to weave between the three of them, a fragile patchwork slowly forming. "Like birthday parties?" Lily asked innocently. "Yes. Like birthdays, and it looks like I've missed quite a few," Emma replied, warmth radiating from her smile. Jake felt a surge of hope. Was it possible to forge a new narrative together? One that included Lily, a kind of family he hadn't dared to dream of in years. He glanced at Emma. She looked different now, more determined and grounded, but the spark that had once drawn him to her flickered beneath the surface. "Emma, what do you think about trying? Maybe starting fresh, learning about each other?" Jake asked, the words tumbling out before he could second-guess himself. Emma's smile faded slightly, replaced by a contemplative look. She took a breath, clearly weighing her response. "I want that, Jake. I really do. But it won't be easy. There are still pieces of the past we have to navigate." Lily interrupted again, her youthful spontaneity shining through. "Can we have ice cream after this?" Both adults laughed, breaking the tension. It was a breath of fresh air amidst the weightiness of the conversation, a simple reminder of joy amid confusion, but even amid laughter, Jake sensed the undertow of deeper feelings. Sure, they had taken a step toward healing, but what came next loomed in his mind like a shadow. Could they really rebuild this connection? Would Emma's presence in their lives cast light or create more darkness? As they moved away from the crowded venue, the echoes of the wedding faded behind them, leaving only whispers of unanswered questions and possibilities ahead. What would it mean if they truly embraced the future together? Emma straightened up, brushing invisible dust from her knees, her smile a tapestry of emotions. Jake's heart raced, not just from the shock of her return, but from the revelation that she wanted to explore this new terrain, too. "Maybe we can do ice cream first," he suggested, glancing at Lily, who bounced eagerly on her toes, eyes alight with the promise of sweet treats. Emma chuckled softly, and the sound melted some of the tension that still lingered in the air. "Is chocolate okay?" Emma asked, clearly trying to engage. "Yes. And sprinkles." Lily clamored, her excitement filling the small space around them. "Sprinkles it is," Jake agreed, and he couldn't help but feel a flicker of joy that somehow pierced through the uncertainty. They made their way towards the ice cream stall, its brightly colored offerings tangling with the laughter and music of the celebration left behind. As they walked, Jake stole glances at Emma. She walked with a newfound confidence, her shoulders squared as if she was ready not just to face him, but the life that lay ahead. "What are you thinking?" Emma finally asked, her gaze steady. Jake took a breath, feeling the gravity of the moment. "I guess I'm just trying to figure out how we can make this work," he said, trying to infuse hope into his words. "It's been hard, you know. Raising Lily on my own, it isn't what I imagined." "Or what we imagined," Emma interjected softly, her tone just above a whisper as they reached the stall, giving their order. Jake felt a knot tighten in his throat. "Yeah. But she deserves to know, all of us. The past is there, but I want to be hopeful for her future." Emma smiled, but her expression shifted slightly, shadowed by a flicker of uncertainty. "I want that too, Jake. But we aren't the same people we were." "And that's okay," Jake replied quickly. "Because I think we both learned some things, right? About what we want, who we really are." As they settled on a bench with their ice cream, the atmosphere felt lighter. Lily dove into her bowl, her little giggles spilling into the warm air, an innocent reminder of the joy they could potentially share. Emma watched them, her eyes glistening. "Is it weird to say that I'm happy I'm here? Even if it's complicated?" Emma asked, glancing up at Jake. "No. I think it's perfect," he said, feeling warmth spread through him. "Complicated is kind of what life is all about. We just have to figure it out together." Lily interrupted their moment, her face smeared with chocolate, grinning up at them. "Can we have a family hug?" Jake chuckled, his heart swelling. "I think that's a great idea." Emma wrapped her arms around them, and in that quiet moment, it felt like something real and hopeful was being stitched into place. But as Jake lost himself in the comfort and safety of the embrace, a nagging doubt crept back into his mind. What if the shadows of the past refused to fade? What if the memories of their mistakes were too strong, too painful to move beyond? He pulled away slightly, watching Emma's face. "There's still a lot we don't know about each other this time around. Are you ready for all of it?" Emma's lips pressed together in a thoughtful line. "I mean, can you ever really be ready?" The question hung in the air like the sweet scent of melted ice cream, and as they sat under the fading sun, Jake knew they were at the cusp of something life-changing. But what if the answers they sought were hidden in shadows they hadn't yet faced? The laughter from the carnival echoed in the background as Jake, Emma, and Lily finished their ice cream. The sun began its slow descent, painting the sky in warm hues of orange and pink. Jake could feel the moment slipping by, filled with unspoken words and hesitant glances. "So," Emma started, looking down at her half-eaten ice cream, "what happens next?" Jake hesitated. The question weighed heavily on him. He thought about all they had gone through, the hurt and misunderstandings, the years they had spent apart. "I think we take it one day at a time. Maybe we can start by getting to know each other again. As different people." Lily, blissfully unaware of the emotional minefield, piped up, "I want to show Emma my favorite playground." She hopped up, her voice bright and infectious. "I'd love that." Emma replied, her smile growing as she leaned closer to Lily. Jake admired how easily Emma slipped into this role, just like she used to. It stirred up a cocktail of hope and fear in his chest. Should he allow himself to fall into this fantasy again? "Okay, let us go," he urged, standing up and replacing doubt with action. They made their way through the bustling street, their laughter mingling with the music that drifted around them. As they approached the playground, Lily ran ahead, her tiny legs carrying her with such enthusiasm. "Look, Emma!" she squealed, pointing at the swings that responded to her excitement like a pendulum in motion. Jake watched, his heart swelling, as Emma's eyes lit up at the sight of Lily on the swing, her laughter bubbling over in peals that broke through the evening air. He felt something shift within him, the inkling of a possibility unfurling like a flower daring to bloom in spring. Sitting with Emma on a nearby bench, he felt an urge to dig deeper into the conversation they started earlier. "Emma, so how have you been?" "I've been good. Busy with work, but good," she answered, her smile faltering slightly. "I've missed a lot, though. I was hoping to be there for Lily more." The sincerity in her voice pierced through him, and he wanted to reassure her. "You still can, you know. There's room in our lives. It just might take a bit to figure out the dynamics." "Yeah, but," Emma began, biting her lip as if weighing each word. "It's not just about me jumping back in. It's about trust. It's about, well, believing I deserve a place in her life again." Jake felt the raw honesty in her statement. "You deserve it, Emma. You gave so much to us before. We can make new memories together." She turned to face him, surprise dancing across her features before a soft smile spread. The way she looked at him in that moment ignited something deep inside him, yet the shadows of their past still whispered uncertain echoes. "Can we do this?" she asked, her voice small but firm. "Can we really put in the effort and not go backwards?" Jake hesitated, knowing the road to reconciliation was graveled with uncertainties and fear. But with Lily swinging nearby, her laughter a sweet sound of innocence, he felt more certain than ever. "I think we can," he finally said. "But we have to face those shadows together. They're part of us, but they don't have to dictate our future." As night began to wrap itself around them, Jake couldn't shake off the feeling that a new chapter was waiting to be written. But just as hope began to swell, a text buzzed in his pocket, pulling him back into reality. He glanced at it, breath hitching in his throat as he realized it was from an old friend, one who carried unexpected news that could change everything again. What could it possibly mean for the fragile refocus of their lives? The text buzzed like a thunderclap, jolting Jake from the delicate moment he shared with Emma. He glanced at the message, heart pounding in his chest. "I need to talk," it read. "Important." His breath caught in his throat as his mind raced. Could this somehow connect to the past he was trying to mend? Beyond the beauty of the sunset, shadows twisted at the corners of his vision, growing heavier with each second he spent contemplating the message. "Are you okay, Dad?" Lily's tiny voice drifted over, her innocent gaze fixed on him as she swung, her legs kicking high. Jake forced a smile, his heart struggling to balance the lightness of the moment with the weight of what was brewing inside him. "Yeah, just thinking." He avoided Emma's piercing stare. He could feel her question, what was that message about? But the truth was, he couldn't share the past's ghosts just yet. Not now, when everything seemed to turn towards hope. He wanted to build something beautiful with Emma and Lily. Distractions from the past couldn't shatter that flicker of connection they reignited. "I think I'm ready to take that leap," Emma finally said, her voice low, containing a tremor of anticipation. "To embrace what we can be. Together." Her words felt like a lifeline, pulling him back to the brightness of the moment. He glanced at Lily, her joy now interweaving with Emma's promise. "Me too," he replied, his voice firm yet soft. "I just need to figure out how to dance through the past and leap into this new idea of family." Just as hope flooded back in, his phone buzzed again, and the spell broke. He grimaced at the screen where the name flashed, an old friend from another life. "Jake, it's really important. Call me." "Just a second," he said, stepping away, needing space to breathe. He stepped behind a tree, the leaves whispering around him, their rustling a distant echo to his racing thoughts. As he faced the reality waiting for him on the other end of the line, the burden of choices climbed higher. "Hey, it's me," he answered hesitantly. "Jake, listen. I know you've started rebuilding. There is something you need to know." An intense wave of dread washed over him, time stretched around him, but he forced himself to stay present. "What is it?" "About your ex. There is something you weren't aware of, something that could change everything." The way the air felt suddenly turned dense and suffocating. Memories rushed to the forefront of his mind, the laughter, the love they had once shared, but shadows of pain never far behind that. He stepped back to where Emma and Lily waited, caught in a moment that felt too precious, too fragile. The ghosts of the past didn't have to slip into this delicate realm. "I'll call you back later," he finally managed before hanging up. As he turned, he felt connections brimming within his chest, yet shadows of uncertainty lingered. "Are you ready to be brave?" Emma asked when he returned, the warmth in her eyes steadying him. "Always," he said, "for Lily, for Emma, for the chance of a future he so desperately wanted." So they stepped away from the playground and back into the vibrant world of the wedding. He felt warmth envelop him, the scent of blooming flowers in the air, echoing with laughter and carefree voices that reminded him of what life could be again. With Emma beside him and Lily leading the way through the garden, Jake turned his back to the flickering shadows of the past. He chose warmth, expectance, and hope shone bright on the horizon. Each step towards the dance floor felt like stepping into a song he didn't know yet, but he was ready to learn the rhythm of this new life, with love blooming freshly like a spring garden. As he joined Emma and Lily, he felt weight lift, fatalistic binds loosen. Laughter erupted anew, a symphony of connection where once there was only heartache. The music filled him as they stepped onto the dance floor, each twirl and sway peeling back layers of doubt, but behind him, the past still held secrets and shadows that loomed. Would he find the courage to confront it, to face whatever storm might arise? Or could they move forward, writing a new chapter, stronger than the scars left behind? As the final notes of the song lingered, Jake knew they were on the brink of something extraordinary. Together, they could create a family not defined by past mistakes but driven by hope and relentless possibility. With hope in his heart, he took Emma's hand, intertwining their lives amid the music echoing around them. It was their moment to heal, to love, to live in the beauty of the now. And that, he realized, was life, a dance amid storms, a leap toward the best version of themselves. The evening shimmered with possibilities, and together, they prepared to embrace whatever came next. Now is your turn. Don't wait not even one more second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your thumbs up means the world and helps bring more stories to life. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.